And we begin this morning with some overnight news. A busy stretch of I-40 is now back open after a rollover late last night. Officers were called out to the eastbound lanes of I-40 near Rio Grande around 9:30. Police say speed was a factor when the driver hit a barrier, then flipped over onto its top. Crews shut down a section of I-40 until the scene was cleared. Again, those roads are back open at this time. The driver was taken to UNM Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No word yet if the driver will be cited. We turn now to this. It was a somber day as thousands turned out for Officer Greg Benner's funeral service yesterday.
Many others stood outside saluting the fallen officer as he took one last ride to the police station. Hundreds filled the Santa Ana Star Center to honor Rio Rancho police officer Greg Nigel Benner. The 49-year-old was shot and killed during a traffic stop on Memorial Day by a career criminal. Benner served 22 years in the U.S. Air Force before joining Rio Rancho PD 4 years ago. Among those to speak at yesterday's service, Benner's brother, the governor, and the police chief.
Nigel, farewell, my brother, until we meet again.
Officer Benner was given a final salute with full honors, and people lined the streets right before a final dispatch.
And while yesterday's processional was a touching tribute to the fallen officer, some parents actually took the opportunity to teach their kids the importance of standing together.
And while it was definitely a tragedy, it shows how the community can come together and honor Officer Benner and those who he serves with as well. So definitely there's so much love that you can feel along this route as well today.
For at least a mile long, people held flags, signs, and some even saluted, as you saw that little guy right there, as Officer Benner's casket rode by. And before heading to the cemetery, Officer Benner's body was taken one last time to the Rio Rancho Police Department for one last radio call.
Law enforcement officer for 4 years. Please answer. PD to Officer Greg Nigel Benner, call sign 163. This is your final dispatch.
Always very emotional. As you can see, a very emotional moment for not only the people standing there, but Benner's fellow officers, some of them wiping tears away. They cried as they heard the ceremonial call about Benner, who will be remembered for his strength, courage, and his heroism. And happening today, the memorial where Officer Benner was killed is expected to be taken down later today. This as people continue to add to it. After the memorial is removed, the items will be given to Benner's wife, Julie. The police department will put up a sign there thanking the community and telling them where they can donate. If you missed the memorial service, you can watch it online right now, including Officer Benner's last dispatch. Just search the KRQE News app. It's now 6:04 rather. Getting ahead of myself. We're turning to this. It's a journey that seems like a plot from a movie. A man crosses nearly 14 states through mountain ranges in nearly 130 days. But it's only beginning for him, and it's all to help raise awareness for rare diseases.
His next stop is Albuquerque, and News 13's Catherine Mazzone has more on his journey. Catherine?
That's right, Adam. This man will be hard to miss. His goal, to make it through 14 states, all by himself, all while pushing an 80-pound stroller of supplies and an American flag. And he's almost there. The man is Noah Coughlin. He's already run coast to coast twice. This coming July will make it his third. Coughlin's doing it for the 30 million Americans suffering from a rare disease or disorder that affects 1 in 10 Americans. It's not to mention 350 million people worldwide. He calls it Run for the Rare and says he was inspired by 2 childhood friends battling rare brain diseases. Coughlin started in New York City at the end of February and plans to end his journey on July 4th in San Diego, California. Today, Coughlin will run alongside 6 New Mexico State police officers and officers from the Albuquerque Police Department. Back to you.
Pretty neat. Coughlin dedicates each leg of his race to somebody different. In Oklahoma, 3 meteorologists. Coming up to our next half hour, we'll tell you the man that he's dedicating his next run to.
Good for him. So we turn on to this. The family of the glider pilot reported missing is mourning his death today. This after search and rescue say the glider and the pilot's body was found around 2. That was near Highway 285 and Highway 4 near Lamy. This is video of the scene from the night when Sky News 13 and search crews were looking for the crash site. The investigation has been turned over to OMI and state police, and TSB and the FAA are also investigating what went wrong here. State police and the NTSB are also investigating a paraglider crash in southern New Mexico. It happened near the TRC airport as the pilot was about to land. The pilot was airlifted to UNM Hospital with severe leg injuries.
A member of the Senate Intelligence Committee is saying hackers from China are to blame for a cyber attack on government computer workers. China, though, is calling those allegations irresponsible and unscientific. Federal officials say the information of at least 4 million federal workers may be at risk of having their personal information stolen. That includes people with security clearances. The head of a cybersecurity firm says the stolen information could be used to impersonate or blackmail federal employees. A hospital patient is behind bars this early hour after he decided to take an ambulance on a wild ride.
Yeah, look at that video there. Police in Chicago say Michael Buckner was being transferred from one hospital to the other when he somehow got loose. Dash cam shows him crashing into a semi, then flying into a ditch. Sparks flying right there. Wow. A passerby tries to help, but Buckner took off again. Deputies say when they finally caught up with him, he attacked 3 of them. None of the deputies were seriously hurt. That's the good news here. Buckner was finally arrested, but as you can see, he wasn't giving up, trying to squeeze his way out of there. No word on what charges he could soon be facing.
Crazy. Flips over, sparks flying.
And he wasn't even seatbelted in.
Seemed to do okay afterwards. First this morning, a suspect and 2 officers are sent to the hospital after a shooting. Yeah, police say it all started after a suspect rammed 2 patrol cars. The same man who tried to ram an officer just last week. Look.
Don't do it! Do not do it!
So this was a scene last week when police say Denon Gabaldon tried to ram officers while escaping from a Northwest Albuquerque apartment complex. That was on Memorial Day. That's why detectives were looking for him yesterday near Unser and Gibson. But when they caught up with him, they say he got into a car and headed right for their cars again.
2 of our officers were also hit. They have been transported to the hospital.
Gabaldon ran off. Police fired beanbags, a taser. 1 officer actually fired his weapon. He's now in the hospital with unknown injuries. As for the officers, they're expected to recover.
As you can imagine, neighbors say they were pretty startled when they heard those shots.
I told my friend of mine, I said, look, those were shots.
As the commotion outside intensified, some people grabbed their phones and began shooting video.
It was kind of scary. There's so many things going on lately in Albuquerque, so it's kind of scary.
Despite yesterday's dramatic takedown, people we spoke with say they still feel safe in their neighborhood.
So News 13 dug deeper into Gabaldon's past and found he does have a long criminal history, which includes other arrests for assaulting and running from officers. Gabaldon was also arrested in March after this high-speed chase you see on your screen right there. Deputies say he drove at them at that time as well, and that's when a deputy opened fire on him. Gabaldon was not hit during that chase.
New developments this morning in the deputy-involved shooting in Valencia County. We've learned the man shot is now dead. The sheriff's office says the deputy was conducting a welfare check on 36-year-old Rudy Baca at a home near Los Lunas. Police say there was a confrontation. The deputy fired his gun. Baca was taken to UNMH, where he later died. The deputy has been put on paid leave while state police investigate. His name has not been released yet. 6:33, an Albuquerque woman is still missing after she failed to make her connecting flight from Atlanta to the Duke City. 32-year-old Anna Giannini arrived in Atlanta Sunday evening from Milan, Italy. Her sister told police that Giannini was expected to arrive at the Sunport, but never showed up. Police aren't sure she got on another flight or left the airport.
And for the first time in more than 20 years, New Mexico has a new archbishop. Church leaders and people from around the world celebrated the installment of Archdiocese of Santa Fe Archbishop John C. Wester. Yesterday, Apostolic Nuncio to the United States, Carlo Maria Vigano, read a letter from Pope Francis himself to Archbishop Wester, appointing him to one of the highest positions in the Catholic Church. With joy, the Archbishop accepted.
I do accept the pastoral care of the people of God in the Archdiocese of Santa Fe.
So during his homily, the Archbishop expressed how grateful he is to be in Santa Fe and to learn from those who live in the land of enchantment. Archbishop Wester is the 12th Archbishop of Santa Fe. Now, a man could be facing charges after he was arrested at the installation for disorderly conduct. The Santa Fe, New Mexican reports that 51-year-old Claudio Martinez was arrested after he refused to move from a reserved seat. Police say he became combative when officers were called to remove him.
Senator Tom Udall is showing his support for a new breakthrough technology to stop drunk drivers.
It's estimated it could be in the range of 59,000 lives over 15 years.
This is a picture of Udall as he's getting a demonstration of the new device unveiled by the DOT yesterday. It's an alcohol detection system. There are two technologies being developed to keep a vehicle from starting if the driver's alcohol level is above 0.08. On the ignition button, a touch system reads blood alcohol levels below the skin surface. This sensor detects alcohol on the breath too. Engineers hope that an option will be available in 5 to 10 years. All right, can you imagine running 25 miles per day for more than 5 months?
Wow.
That's a big ordeal. And one man actually has done it, and he's done it 3 times.
Yeah, the coast-to-coast trek is called Run for Rare. One man running alone across the country to spread awareness about rare diseases. And today, he's making a stop in Albuquerque. News 13's Catherine Mazzone has all the details. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. Noah Coughlin is running from New York City to San Diego, California. He says he was inspired by 2 childhood friends suffering from a rare brain disease. Fact is, rare diseases or disorders affect 1 in 10 Americans and 350 million people worldwide. Coughlin dedicates each leg of his run to different people from different communities in the state he's running. Here in New Mexico, he's doing it for fallen Rio Rancho officer Greg Benner. Today, he'll be joined by 6 New Mexico police officers and officers from Albuquerque Police Department. From here, Coughlin will head to Phoenix, Arizona, then to his final destination in San Diego. Now, Coughlin reached more than 7 million people over the course of his first 2 runs. He was even hit by a car in Knoxville, Tennessee, but luckily walked away unscathed. Back to you.
And we wish him luck on his journey. Thanks so much, Catherine. So Coughlin pushes an 80-pound cart of supplies, as if running wasn't hard enough, right? He also carries an American flag on his journey. It's given to him by the United States Air Force.
Developing this morning, the death toll from a capsized cruise ship off the coast of southern China continues to rise. So far, nearly 100 bodies have been found and 330 people are still missing. The vessel flipped over earlier this week in the Yangtze River during a storm. The ship has since been flipped right side up, but a spokesperson for Chinese Transport Ministry says the chances of finding anyone else alive are very slim. Family members of an accused terrorist killed by Boston police say they had no knowledge of an ISIS-inspired plot to kill police. Osama Rahim was shot to death by police after they say that he was threatening officers with a knife. Rahim's family says they are now reserving their judgment until they get more evidence.
Okay, a lot of people are going to be talking about this. Check out the video on your screen. We're seeing video out of Florida where a man decided to show his dance moves on the roof of a deputy's car. The man does this for about 6 minutes before sliding down the windshield and taking up the wipers in the process of that. Really getting down there. Police say Christian Radig told them he was being threatened by vampires and needed help from the sheriff of Nottingham, and he was trying to get the deputy's attention. That's why he boogied down right there. He was arrested shortly after. No one knows what charges he could be facing, but he is a pretty good dancer.
And clearly the vampires weren't hot on his tail if he thought he had time to dance.
Exactly. He had a whole 6 minutes to boogie down, so they must have been maybe a few miles back.
Right.
Turn note to this. So we're learning more about the Colorado woman who says she lost her job as a school lunchroom worker because she gave free food to a hungry child.
Her story went viral this week, and now the woman and the school are speaking about what happened.
I thought, we would get some local interest and maybe, make some changes in the Denver metro area. That's what I was hoping for, but your piece just blew up.
That was Della Curry, who on Monday told a local news station that she had been fired for feeding hungry school kids who didn't qualify for the free lunch program. Since then, her story went international, and now the school district is speaking out about why they decided to fire her.
There are a number of documented issues that would have led to the action that we took.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with her giving free food to hungry kids?
There are no hungry kids. We feed every child every day.
The district couldn't give specifics about what Curry did to get fired, and they say they have no intention of releasing her personal file to the public. Curry says she plans to use her newfound fame to bring attention to hungry kids. Coming up.